Hello, and I don't know what happened there, but something started playing in the background. Hello and welcome along to the Rangers Rabble podcast, episode number 44, considering we only started in November. That's a mental amount of fucking podcasts to be putting out. If anything, I'm doing too much work. Hello, my name's Martin. I'm joined by Scott Kerr. Scott, how are you?
I'm fine, Martin.
Double shift for you today?
It is, since I'm sitting in the house, just waiting Love Island starting, so I thought I'll come on here first.
And look, I think we all know what we're here for. We're here for Ross Clark and his new hairdo. Ross, how are you?
Permy, mate. I'm permy.
It's permanent.
I'm permy.
I have to say, it's class, Ross. I like it.
Do you like it, mate?
I actually do.
You're a wee bit gingy, but so you just appreciate good hair when you see it, brother.
I actually do. I actually like it. I'm not lying to you. I think it's cool.
Mate, there you go, mate. See, down with the kids.
Down with the grandpas.
How come we've just went from 100 views to 20 views? I don't know. Is that your hair, Ross?
Mate, do you know what it is? It'll be folk so they can take pictures of me on their phone so they can get to the barbers on Monday.
Right, look, we're not going to discuss the game today because we had a match reaction, which of course, Kerr, you were on. So if you want an in-depth analysis of the game, then go somewhere else. Because we said our match reaction, I think, only touched on the game for 5 minutes and then it became a podcast. So, but look, this is our Sunday pod. This is normally for patrons only. But because beans on toast, but because of obviously the stuff that's come out today, I thought, do you know what, we'll make this open to everybody. But we are usually, like I say, on a Sunday on Patreon, and if you want to go and support us, head over to patreon.com/Rangers Rabble. Link is in the description. £2 a month, hundreds of shows, and you help to support the podcast and support RYDC. As it is, we're also on YouTube tonight. So if you're watching and you enjoy it, please do subscribe and like. You can find us on Twitter. What's the Twitter handle?
I've not got a Scooby.
At Rangers Rabble. I mean, come on.
I just follow. I don't pay attention to names. I'm even getting my Twitter handle up there because I can't spell it. So I've not got a clue.
You just do what I tell you, didn't you?
Basically, aye.
Right, so since obviously Kerr was on the reaction, Ross, I'll come to you. And basically, did you see anything today that was more positive? Are you less nervous? Were you not nervous going forward? How did you feel about the game?
Well, I think next week takes care of itself. I think the game during the week, having Kamara back, will make a massive, massive difference to us holding possession. I thought you seen the day, I think it was Neil McCann in the studio on RTV mentioned when Kamara plays, Rabble can play with a bit more freedom because he knows he's got Kamara who's always making an angle for a passer or looking to receive. Obviously, for me, as I've said before, the worry is that we seem to be picking Connor Golson's partner out of hat at the start of games. Last year we had the continuity of the back four, the back five, whereas this year no so much. I don't know if it's to do with Helander maybe not being able to play X amount of games or whether it's but for me, we're early on in the season, and Gerard himself said today how good the pitch was, the condition of the pitch. So for me, it's a bit of a worry if in the first kind of few games of the season, Helander can manage 4 games in 11 days.
Worry for you, Kerr? I mean, I think, I always admit when I hear it from somebody else, because I very rarely come up with my own ideas or my own thoughts or my own opinions. I always steal them off people. But is that a worry then, Helander? I mean, let's face it, our centre-backs don't see a lot of action in the league. 99% of the time, we're the ones that are on the attack. Yeah. So is it a worry then that Gerrard's leaving Helander out, especially when, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, he's the best centre-back at the club?
I agree with you in a way. I think him and Golson the best partnership at the club. But he did rotate him last season, Gerrard. So I don't know if he's trying to do the same thing, but I don't agree with this rotation 1 week in, one in 1 week, one in the next week, and just keep Connor there. So I think he should go with a steady back four. I know Barisic isn't there, and the back four's not been steady, but Barisic done okay. But the centre halves, you have to keep the 2 same centre halves, don't you? Week in, week out, just to give the goalkeeper a bit of consistency who's in front of him and midfielders who's behind him. So rotating it isn't a big worry, but it can cause issues at times because the guy might come into a team and maybe take him a good 10-15 minutes to get into the game just because he's not played that recently. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. You'd have to ask Gerrard that, but I feel Helander and Connor are the best two in the club partnership wise.
Have you seen the way that Gerrard answers the media? I ain't asking Gerrard nothing.
Love it.
You know what I mean?
Love it, mate.
I don't care if we were getting 6 million views and Rangers invited us into the director's box. I still wouldn't be asking Gerrard any fucking questions. Absolutely no chance. RFC 56, love the Rabble, let's go. Absolutely. It's the best podcast out there, Ross, isn't it?
I would say so. Maybe not the best looking, but definitely the best content.
Definitely no, the best looking. CGM, I still haven't heard or seen what has happened, and I probably don't want to hear it or see it. We'll come on to that a wee bit later. And today, Ross, Cubby Cubster, Kamara made the difference today. Do you go along with that?
Yes, I believe Kamara is the difference. All the slick passing and stuff today. Kamara's got that ability. Don't know if he's got a low centre of gravity or what it is, but he's got the kind of swivel hips whereby you can look as if he's got to take the ball left. The guy goes to get up his bum to the left and he hits it with the outside of the foot and goes right. And that in itself can shift the full play across the park. The other guys in there, Davis has got an eye for a pass now. He's not got that same movement. So for me, Kamara's a massive part of what we do and how we can open up spaces and switch the play so quickly. The one that comes to mind, obviously, is the goal against Celtic. Arfield scored, where Scott Brown comes in to try and hit Kamara. Kamara jukes him, and then the plays all of a sudden, everybody's all went to the left, and we end up going down the right, and it cuts through. So I think Kamara is an unsung hero for the way we play. I think we missed him in Europe as well. I think that don't get me wrong, it's absolutely shocking that you get racially abused, stick up for yourself and end up getting a ban. The guy who racially abused him, bearing in mind, is back playing in Europe. Do you know what I mean? So it's just that I don't. In answer to your question, without going down a rabbit hole, Kamara was good.
Yeah, he's a Cameron influence, isn't he?
Aye, see the professionalism there, Kerr, where Ross knew that he had nothing else to say, but he was halfway through trying to say something else and just ended it. You know what I mean? That is the kind of top class punditry you get here on the Rangers Rabble.
Yeah.
It's
my brains are in my perm. Who knew
it? Gary Sellers has asked, how would you know ask Stevie a question, Martin? The simple answer to that, Gary, is I'm stupid. And I will always ask the wrong questions. That's why we've got the hashtag on the Rabble, hashtag crap question. Because I just always ask crap questions. Kerr, I put out a post on Twitter, I think it was yesterday or the day before, basically saying, look, I don't care how much we get offered. If we want to do anything this season, we cannot sell Glenn Kamara.
Yep.
Listen, I understand if a ridiculous bid comes in, he's not signed his new contract, so if a ridiculous bid comes in, of course we're going to accept it. But I just feel he's probably, more so than Goldson or Tav, probably the most important player at Rangers.
He's probably one of the most important players, I agree with you, yes. And like I said today, I can't wait till the window shuts and all the players are still here, because it's just worrying the fact that the contracts are lying there unsigned, because you don't know if they're waiting on a big coming in or they're waiting on something to happen. Hopefully not. But like you said, everybody's got a price that they would accept for somebody, and hopefully somebody doesn't offer that for Glenn, because I think Glenn would be a very big miss for us.
Aye, huge. CGM, Gerrard was getting annoyed on Friday by basically having to answer the same question over and over. CGM, see if I was in a press conference, right, I would have my question pre-planned, right? And see if I was like fifth in line and somebody asked the question that I wanted to ask, I'm no smart enough to come up with another question. So I would just ask that question anyway, and Gerrard would tell me his strips. Hence why we're a podcast and not fan media. So, Kerr, was there enough in the performance today to make you more positive going forward? Obviously, we can't shy away from it. We've had a shit start to the season. We've lost in the league. We've lost 2 games in Europe. But what did you make of today's performance? Has it gave you more positivity?
It probably has, because a lot of the fans were kind of getting the fear factor, as in a few people were saying. I don't understand why, because we were always going to get back to being the way we can play. It's just took its time for some reason, but we weren't great today, Martin, but we were comfortable in times. We were slack, we slowed the pace down after getting up 2-0, but we were comfortable enough. We scored 4 goals, it could have been a bit more. But I thought we played reasonably well, and players like Ryan Kate, I know he wasn't great today, but he was trying, his effort was there, and he was going back to doing the basic things. He had tried to beat maybe the same guy 3 times, and I thought he's looking to get back to the way he can play, because he was just keeping things simple and keeping things basic, which a lot of times players do that just to get back to feel a bit more confident about themselves.
Nah. Anyways, we've done a full match reaction, so if you want more in-depth analysis, like I said, don't even go there, because there's no in-depth analysis on the Rabble. But go and check it out anyway.
What he's trying to say there, Scotty, is me and you have not got a Scooby, but we're talking about and we're embarrassing him.
Basically.
I would never ever admit that. I would never ever admit that. Right, we've been hearing rumblings, Ross, of a potential offer for Glenn Kamara. I think there was an offer. The rumours are 5 million from Everton. It's pretty much been
Patterson,
laughed off.
It's Patterson. It's no Kamara. It's Patterson.
I said Patterson. Did I not say Patterson?
Kamara.
No. Oh, well. See what I mean?
Fucking
See what I mean?
donkey, man.
I'm stupid. So Patterson. Number one, Rangers do not want to sell. And number two, 5 million.
Nah.
Derisory.
I think you seen the way Gerrard answered the question, just laughed, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Then said 5 million. And Everton's just been cheeky, but he's not getting a game. Everton know he's got a bit of ability, so they come with an offer. If the Rangers might consider it, I might go back with a bigger offer, but he just kicked it straight out the door saying no, because Nathan's got a long future with Rangers. We all know that. He just has to bide his time, and if he played anywhere else in the UK, or if he played in England, even a smaller club in England, it'd be worth double that easy. So £5 million is not even nowhere near what he's worth.
Ross, how long do you think it will take Kerr to notice that he hasn't switched his light on and it's starting to get darker?
I know it is.
And by the time we finish this podcast, it'll be
That's what I've got to ask, should I?
I was going to say that. He makes it look as if he's on a sunbed anyway. His face is fucking...
Ross, your thoughts on the whole Patterson saga, if you want to call it that. There's a nice headline for the record. Rangers in Patterson saga.
You've hit the nail on the head. 5 million, they were never going to sell him at 5 million. But again, for me, how much value is there in somebody who can get a game ahead of Tav, who is worth, you would be lucky to get 5-10 million. So again, this is going to be a point where this season Patterson's going to have to play games for me. He's got to, after the start to the season he had last year, for me, he's got to be playing games this year. And Bassey's shown on the other side that it can be done. I would say Patterson's a superior player to Bassey for what I've seen of the two. But for me, Patterson is, for the early signs of what I've seen him, every bit as good as Tierney was at that age, and Tierney went for 25 million and he's got hips that are made of shreddies. So for me, we were never going to sell at that, but it would be time for Patterson to be chatting the manager's door and saying, look, if you're not going to accept multi-million-pound bids for me, then you're going to have to start playing me.
That's a really good point, Kerr. Does this put Nathan in a kind of stronger negotiating position to say to the manager, look, I deserve more minutes on the park? Or is Jink Nathan's the type of boy that won't take any notice of anything and he'll just sit back and continue going the way he's going?
I think we'll sit back for a while, Martin. But if it's still the same, maybe after January, he might say, right, how am I getting no more game time? I don't think he'll ask to leave. Personally, I don't think he'll ask to leave, and I don't think we consider offers at the moment for himself, because I think there's Ross's like, wouldn't it?
So he's not putting any money in the meter.
I think he's got a lot to offer, not just Rangers, but Scotland. So, and he's still only a young lad, but to me, you can't shove him into the first team every week. I know he's a good player. He's a young lad, but Tav's done nothing wrong, so you just can't drop your captain for this young boy. I still waiting to see if he'll play the two of them. I think he might at some point, I don't think it'll be just now, but I'm still waiting. But he's not done anything wrong, Nathan, when he's played, put it that way. But to just say that you're starting in Tav's now after Tav being the captain and getting a new deal, he's not going to do that, Gerrard, either. So it will come a crunch time eventually, but I don't think it'll be in the near future. I think it'll be maybe after January, maybe start next season, because I don't think Nathan's wanting to rock the boat, especially what he put the club through with the pandemic and just coming through the club as a youngster and stuff like that. I think he's happy here at the moment, so I think we'll just bide his time, but it won't be a long time. We'll bide his time because he knows he can get 15 games elsewhere.
And the thing is, Ross, Nathan strikes me as the type to obviously learn from his mistakes. You know, with the whole COVID stuff, and he's bounced back because I mean Edmondson's gone. You know, he was part of the COVID. Zungu, he's gone. He was part of the COVID. So Nathan's managed to kind of build that relationship back with Gerrard. So he doesn't strike me as the type of young player who's going to go in with the big head that barely fits through the door and says, "Look, Everton want me, so you better play me or I'm off."
I think Patterson and Bassey were it together. So I think let's be honest, Edmondson and Jordan Jones, who were at the party together, were two boys who Jones absolutely wrecked his Rangers career when he went out to try and hurt somebody and made an arse himself in front of the nation while we were getting humiliated by Celtic at that point. And ended up costing himself a lot of Northern Ireland caps during a major tournament qualification and stuff. And we were looking for an excuse to get rid. George Edmondson was ever going to come in and be a first choice for Rangers? I don't think so. Did we get him on a free contract? Yep. So we never paid money for the boy. So you'll probably find, rather than if you sign a player worth $2 million and you're getting them on a free contract, rather than giving them $8,000 a week, you'll maybe give them $16,000 a week because you're not paying that initial fee and you're trying to get them to come. So the two of them were signed on free contracts, and I don't know if the risk and the reward, their behaviour, that gave the club the perfect excuse to kind of move them on. To be honest,
possibly.
Whereas with Patterson. And certainly Bassey, there looks as if there could be staking a claim for first team and or the potential of getting a decent fee for the two of them as they mature.
Well, see, this is the thing now, Keir. We've had this supposed £5 million offer for Everton. So our players up here are getting noticed. Nathan Patterson, clearly, I mean, Everton aren't a small team. They're a very good team. They've got a very good manager. So is there a worry that quite possibly before the end of the window, Everton or another team of that stature in England come into Rangers and maybe offer a wee bit more and it's maybe a wee bit too tempting?
It's always that worry with any of the players, and like Ross said earlier, Nathan's not been playing, so they could come in with that excuse where you're not playing him anyway, so we'll give you this. Maybe if he was playing more, the offer would have been higher, but I still see, even if it's up to 37 or 8, I still think Rangers would kick it out of the park, and I still think Nathan would choose to stay. I think it's maybe after January and the start of next season, maybe start to say why I'm not getting game time. But I think his game time will come. He's too good a player not to get game time. But I just think people are expecting him to go straight into the team and Tav to be replaced, and that would be in the day. But he's still a young boy. He'll went to the team and they maybe make one or two mistakes. People say he's not good enough because that's the way supporters react, you know, like yourself. So I think it's just taking your time in anything, because I do think he's got a long term at Rangers and he could probably be a future captain for us as well.
I know. And listen, I know that young Nathan Patterson's a big fan of the show. So I know you're watching, Nathan. So just stay with your buddy. You'll be absolutely fine at Rangers. There you go. Right.
Do you know what Nathan Patterson's going to be at the Barbers asking for on Monday?
He's going to be asking for a Clarkie. Is that what he's going to be asking for?
Nathan Permerson. That'll be his new name.
Oh, man. See if he does. Oh, man. Today, gents, unfortunately, there never seems to be a dull moment when it comes to Rangers, Ross. Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend for a second that throughout my whole life I've never done or said something stupid, especially when I was a young boy. But however, we have the Everyone Anyone campaign. We have all stood up for Glenn Kamara. Maybe it took one of our own for us all to realise just how serious racism was. And then we have this incident today I won't go into too much detail. I won't name the supporters bus or anything like that. But then we have this incident today where people have supposedly recorded themselves being racist and putting the clip online. And the reason that I say supposedly is because there is an investigation going on. We don't know exactly what's going on. So that's why I'm saying supposedly. But it looks terrible, Ross.
It's this generation, mate. We spoke about it a wee bit before the pod. See, when I was 18, 15 years ago, 33, 15 years ago, 15 years ago, Jesus. Mate, I wouldn't have a job. I would have get crucified. This would have happened to many people, because now is the day where Big Brother's watching, and that people used to say that, and they used to talk about cameras in the streets and stuff. See, now everybody has got a mobile phone with a camera, and they're streaming stuff live to Facebook. They're streaming stuff live. They're Snapchatting stuff and thinking it deletes. There's hunters. Essentially, people are on a supporters bus. You'll probably find there, and I'm not excusing racism, but what I'm saying is, you've got a few drinks, somebody starts singing a song, you join in, and somebody's recording it. It's a touchy subject, mate. It's racist. It's 100% racist, and there's no place for racism. But when you've had a drink and you're trying to fit into a group, I've done stupid things to try and fit into a group, and if I'm not, as I say, you can't excuse it, mate. At the end of the day, you've been caught on camera singing derogatory, stereotypical remarks about somebody's race, and that's not on. Do you know what I mean? It's 100% not on. It's embarrassing for the club. It's embarrassing for us to have to sit on a podcast and talk about it. And to be honest, mate, it's no what the club needs, as you say. We've went above and beyond. We've had our black players come out and support Glenn Kamara. We're talking about him being suspended for multiple games for sticking up for himself and us supporting him. And then you've got a couple of idiots on a bus who want to be part of the gang and sing a song that should never be getting sung at any stadium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and look, Kerr, this isn't and I hate it when it comes to this. It's not, our fans done this, but look what their fans done.
Like, what about you? Stuff like that. No,
this is about what, and again, I have to say, supposedly, because again, there's an investigation going on, and I don't want us to get into any trouble just in case there's been videos doctored or whatever. So, this is what Rangers fans have supposedly done on a coach heading to a game, and this could be so damaging to our football club.
It could, Martin. And Rangers fans in general, we're a good bunch of supporters. We put the club first, but you've always got fans who basically don't give a toss. They're just out for a day, out for a drink, drugs, whatever they take before a game. But that's not an excuse, like Ross says. But if you want people to evolve, these things have to stop. No matter where you're from in life, you can be from anywhere in the world. You can be any religion, any race, whatever. But we're all one, mate. There's Rangers fans all over this world. The Rangers players come from all over the world. So no matter who you think is slagging off, there's somebody with that persuasion that supports Rangers that's blood with Rangers. So think before you speak. But it's not just about Rangers, it's about people in general. People nowadays don't open your mouth and say silly things, because it's not really worth it. If you give people respect, you get it back, and that's all you want to do. Give people respect, we get it back. But sometimes Rangers fans, not just Rangers fans, every teams do it. But it's Scotland we live in. The Scottish media are going to tar us all with the same brush, and it's not fair because we're not all like that. But that's what they do, I'm afraid. But I think it's time we actually think before we speak. Football's moved on. It's time some of our fans move on as well. Let's back the club. Let's back the players. Let's all come together as one and stop all this crap.
Aye, listen, 100%, Cubby Cubster. Look, the only person you're destined to become is the person you decide to be. Oh, that's deep, innit? That is deep. We all need to grow up. Rangers Football Club will suffer with this kind of behaviour. And Ross, John Walker, who's on the pod quite a lot, put out a tweet about, look, I'm not saying name and shame, but I'm saying, look, make people aware of this video. And there was one or two people who said, look, don't be a grass. This isn't about grassing. This is about trying to protect our football club and try to protect people, regardless of what club they play for, from racism.
Think back to the Kamara thing.
Yeah.
Think back to the Kamara thing. How up in arms we were when a player racially abused our player. Now, I'm white, you're white, Scott's pale and ginger. But at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter, man. If I cut, I bleed red, and so do you, and so does somebody who's Chinese or somebody who's Asian, somebody who's African. I don't get the whole racism thing. I don't get the whole sectarian thing either, to be honest. I'm just a daft Rangers fan that just wants to go and watch Rangers, support Rangers, hate Celtic because of your rivals. But my best mate my full life as a Catholic was in the Green Brigade, like, and we were just best mates because we were two wee boys that weren't brought up to be. Whereas there's obviously a deep lying section of society these days who are brought up not to like blacks because they're black, not to like whites because they were white, not to like gingers because they drink all the iron brew and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going into a deep conversation here, but everybody's the same. Do you know what I mean? As you say, we've got black players, we've got players who run out of Ibrox. The day you probably had Kent, Goldson, Morelos, you've usually got Barisic, who all run onto the park blessing themselves. They're devout Catholics, and we got people in the stands singing about killing them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it comes down to. So for me, we can't. Yeah, if you're getting offended about somebody calling Glenn Kamara black, then you're opening up a can of worms when you're singing stuff about somebody being Chinese.
Aye. Well, Japanese, but yeah. Kerr, what do Rangers need to do about this then? Is this a case of Rangers sit back and see what the authorities do, or do Rangers need to step in here? What should happen?
I think Rangers need to make a statement, an intent here, and go out and do what they say they're going to do. There's no point in making a statement and saying we'll look into it and then nothing gets done it, because that's been done before, not just with ourselves, but with other clubs. We have to go out and find the people who made the video, prove they've done it. Obviously, if you've followed me, so it's 90%. It's going 99%. It will be true anyway because it's on video. So you're going to find that it's true. If that is true, then ban them for Ibrox until such times people start to learn, Martin, because you just can't keep batting this aside because it is an issue and it's getting more serious. You can't keep offending people just because they play with somebody else or they were born a different way or they look different. That's no the way the world works. I'm afraid we have to go on. I mean, it's hard enough working and having a family and doing things normally, but when people are out there just deliberately going to offend people, it's not nice. It's shocking. So it's time people came together, especially as football supporters. I mean, we all go to watch football because you love the sport. No, but we don't go to love football to go to a game and just shouts at and abuse, racist abuse of people. I want to see my team win. I don't care who scores. I don't care where they're from. I don't care who's sitting next to me. I just want to see my team in the park winning. So Rangers have to make a statement and come out and do something properly. Because if they do that, then it makes people think about doing it again. Might not stop people from doing it, but it'll make them think.
I know, but it's so difficult, Ross, because like you mentioned, this isn't just a football issue; it's a societal issue, and it's going to be so difficult to get, for example, 5%. It'd be so difficult to get 5% down to 2%, down to 1%. It'd be it's so difficult to eradicate something that's so obviously ingrained in society.
Mate, we live in a country where, with it getting political, you've got politicians trying to drive divides between the nation. That's been bred into folk from a young age. No, we're better without the union. We are Scotland, and we can. So division's been driven from much higher than us, mate. And there's not much that anybody's going to be able to. I don't see how it changes in this day and age, to be quite honest. As much as you've got rational people like myself and yourself and Scott, like you're always going to have people who their beliefs are their beliefs, and then they're not going to change for you. And I think that's really unfortunate, to be honest with you.
I know it's just one of those. what do you do? All you can do is highlight it and hope that gradually over time it starts to get slightly better, I suppose. Right, we'll finish up then on. I know it's a wee bit away yet. It's Thursday, Care, but we do have our second leg against Alish Care, 4:00. You know what I mean?
I know.
4:00. From the first game, I don't really foresee any real problems. We might do a wee preview a bit later on down the line, but I don't really foresee many problems on Thursday. Do you?
Hopefully not, Martin. I think if we play the way we done the second half against them and then we play the way we did today in spells, we should go through. I mean, we play the strongest team. I wouldn't go out over there on Thursday and make a lot of changes because we have to play the strongest team. We need to stay in Europe. We don't want to go into that Northern League thing because I think that's just more travelling, more upset for us. So we want to get through this round anyway into Europa. So we play our strongest team. Sunday will take care of itself, but play our strongest team on Thursday and get through. Even get a goal or two and maybe make ourselves, but go with your strongest team. Go and make changes again.
Is that a worry actually, Ross? That I think a lot of us felt, me as well. I'll put my hand up and say I thought it as well, that we would probably be 3 or 4 goals up, going into this game on Thursday, and we could leave a Davis. I probably maybe want to play Kamara to get him some games, but a Davis, a Goldson back home, but go with the strongest team, make sure the job's done.
Got to. You're only as strong as the game that you played last. Do you know what I mean? For me, if you take half a team on Thursday and go at the Europa League, that's a disaster. For me. That is a disaster. I know that folk are saying in the comments there about the awful distance to travel. They'll be travelling first class. They'll be travelling with beds to sleep in. It's not as if they'll be slumming it on an EasyJet flight where they're sitting with their knees up at their chests or anything. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of us were betting on Champions League money.
Yeah.
And let's not make any bones about it, Martin. We need to get into the Europa League group stages and get that 3-night package at Ibrox under a full house, get the money in the coffers. Obviously, Castori will be able to bring out a match day 1, 2, and 3 range for the troops. The European waiting for the subway jacket. I can't wait to see that. And there's a lot of money to be made in Europe. We need to be there. And for me, if you send out a team half-arsed on Thursday and you get beat, then there's a grey cloud hanging over the club before we go and play on Sunday. Get the job done on Thursday night. As you say, I think there's still 5 subs in the Europa League, if I'm right. I think you can still make 5 subs, so you can get 5 bodies off in order to keep people fresh once the job's done. But I think you'll see a big difference having Kamara back in the side.
Aye. Oh, listen, without a doubt. Finn Fogel, Care is correct. Care Thursday is more important than Sunday. I honestly, it's so difficult to say that any game is as important as an Old Firm game or a Glasgow derby or whatever anybody wants to call it. But I think in this case, Finn Fogel and yourself are probably right. We can afford, and I don't want us to, of course I don't. Please don't anybody take for what I'm saying that I will accept it because I'll be raging. But if I had to pick one and not to lose, it would be the Old Firm on Sunday because the Europa League and the Europa League money is so important.
Yeah, and that's when it comes to keeping the players like Kamara and Goldson, you need that money there because if you don't get into the Europa League, it Ross says, into the group stages, and you're into that other, I don't even know what the other European thing is, a Northern thing, I don't know how it works. I really looked into it. Yeah, conference. So that money could be, but I think we were banking on, like he said, the Champions League money. It didn't happen. Even beating Malmo, we were guaranteed the 5 million. That never happened before you get into the Europa League. So we're down a bit of money, and the club needs that money to sustain itself. We're not a club full of riches, so if money's not there to sustain, we can't offer players the contracts which they expect. So somebody has to be sold, and that's what you don't want. So you want to get through this group stage, and this group stage is so you've got a bit of money there, because for the last 3 seasons it's helped us buy players like Kent and Golson and stuff like that. So we need to sustain that, and I didn't mean Sunday's not important, it is, but I just take a game. I just take a game at a time. So for me, at this moment in time, Thursday is important. Friday morning when we're through, fingers crossed. Then I'll look at Sunday, but Thursday comes first. I don't even think about Celtic until Friday.
That's exactly it, man.
I mean, look, I'm not sitting here saying, oh, we have to win one or the other. We're more than capable of winning both, and we're more than capable of winning both comfortably. You just put yourself in a more difficult position, Ross. If it's a tough game on Thursday and Gerrard's got what we would term and he would term his best 11.
Mate, I think you're playing for Rangers. See, your next game, it's your most important game because you've got to win every game. You're representing Rangers. You're representing an institution that's globally known and it's one of the biggest clubs in the world. So see, I don't care if you're playing Celtic Hearts Juniors or if you're playing Real Madrid, mate. The next game's the most important game.
Mm-hmm.
It is. See, at the end of the day, you can tell me, see if you can't take a slagging for Celtic fans in your work after the season that they've had last year. Thursday for me, if you gave me a guaranteed win, then I would take the win on Thursday because see if you get knocked out of Europa on Thursday, you've not got another chance at it. See if you get beat off Celtic at the weekend, there's still another 30 odd games to catch them.
Aye.
Thursdays make or break for Rangers, and it could be the difference between, as you say, offering your star players the new contracts they're looking for or having to sell them, and then you're really, really struggling going through the season when you've maybe not got a Kamara, you've kind of offer goals and you have to take a reduced fee for them.
It does. Right, let's have this conversation. And I think we're now past the point where it's a case of I don't care about them. I'm not interested in what they're doing. I'm all about Rangers, which is fair because I'm all about Rangers. But I think we're now getting to the point where we have to have a look and see where they are. And the reason I say that is because CGM has commented brilliantly. We are already getting pelters from the usual media idiots. They are the second coming of Barcelona, and we are grade A diddies. Now, yes, Kerr, we haven't had the best start to the season. Celtic have spent quite a bit of money. They've won a few games. So are Celtic, great question, are Celtic the second coming of Barcelona?
The answer to that would be no, but they were always going to improve on last season because it was very difficult not to improve on last season, the season they had. And the guys come in, what we call him, Anja, but I don't really know. He's come in, he's bought a few players, and the players he brought in are actually decent. The boy for Japanese football's been superb since he's arrived. I mean, I say to you, Martin Offpod that Joe Hart, I know you get a lot of criticism, but he's the best goalkeeper they've got, and he makes a lot. Yeah, he makes errors, but all goalkeepers make errors. But he can pull the one or two saves out the bag in important games. Do you know what I mean? So, and the players they've got are decent. I still say it, if we've got a full squad and we're fit, with the players we've got, we'll still win the league. And I said that to you, we'll just win the league, but I don't think it'll be the same as last season, very long in points. But I think it will be a more competitive season by both teams. I think they've improved. We need to improve. I didn't want us to sit still like they've done for a couple of seasons. Maybe we weren't challenging because we weren't great. So they weren't buying players. They were just going with what they had. I didn't want us to do that, going with the same squad of players. You also have to add 2 or 3 every season just to keep our players on their toes. But you can never say never about players because the players you've got, you can always get somebody better or somebody to improve us. So I don't like us standing still, and that was my point this season with midfield. Wanted us to add more, but I still feel when we get back, if we can get back to playing the way we can play, I still feel we will in the league. But they have improved. They will be a danger, and we have to watch them because they're not going to lose a stupid game they did last season. So we can't be doing that either.
Mm-hmm. No, and look, Ross, Peaceful Warrior. Hey, they've won the Dundee and Hearts Cup after all, and look, I completely get that point of view. But what we can't do is what Kerr is saying is just think that everything's a given. It's a given because they have improved. They are a better team than what they were. All right, from last season, that probably wouldn't be that difficult. But what we cannot do now is stand still.
They've won the Dundee and Hearts Cup, mate. Who beat us?
Dundee United.
That's my point, mate. See, last season when we were playing well, we were on top. Dundee United when they got near us. But this year we look susceptible to losing goals.
Yeah.
We don't look as if we're in more, and we've got our mojo about us yet. And is that because you've no injected that spark into the team? There was a lot of talk about going for the boy Veerman. There was people getting excited about that. obviously I've been the biggest advocate in the world of the boy Ali McCann at St Johnstone. There was talk and was being interested in Nisbet, proven players that would improve us for games in the SPFL, that would improve the squad, improve for me. Again, I'm going to put I've watched quite a lot of him hat on with Ali McCann. For the money that we pay Lundstrom in wages, we could probably have bought McCann and paid his wages up over the same length of contract for similar money.
Mm-hmm.
And we've bought a guy who's similar to what we've got, rather than pushing the boat out and going. I think I spoke about it on the last pod, mate. I think that's the big worry for me. We fall into the trap that Celtic have been in for the last probably 5 or 6 years. The leagues are given every year, and Rangers are. Can you see the Rangers coming and all that? And I just hope that we've not fell into that trap where we think, well, 25 points we beat them by last year. So even if they turn half of them into, we're still 12 points better off than them.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about? I just worry that we've no improved the squad, whereas they've right away bit back by going and making a signing or two. As Kerr says, they're signing Joe Hart. He'll not be cheap on wages, so that they've noticed a position that they had to improve on, and they've went and improved on it. For me, Sakala, I said at the time we signed Sakala and Lundstrom, they would be better squad players than Greg Stewart and Zungu. But have we improved that starting 11 any? I don't think we have. For me, I don't think Sakala or Lundstrom get in a first choice 11 for Rangers. Whereas Joe Hart, the Japanese boy, the guy they've got, is it Abada or something? They've all come in and improved their starting 11 straight away. So they've went and coughed up money knowing that they had to improve, whereas I feel as if we've went and got a couple of freebies right early, and that made a bit of difference.
Do you go along with that, Kerr, then? Look, they have improved. There's no point in having the blue tinted glasses on and going, oh no, they're still crap. You know, they have improved. The boy, the Japanese boy they brought in, looks a very good player. He looks quick. He can finish. Like Ross says, the boy on the right-hand side. I've only really seen about 20 minutes of Celtic, right? So I'm not going to lie and pretend that I've seen all their games. I haven't. The boy on the right looks direct, looks quick. Do we need to improve? Do we need to bring in more quality rather than just squad players? I mean, you always have to improve.
Yeah,
right?
I think we do, Martin. And I was saying that a few pods ago, we need to bring in pods. And I think the problem is, I think Veerman is a possibility, but because we did out of the Champions League, I think that just get batted aside because the money was too much for him and too rich. Because we've got a player very similar in Stephen Kelly, but Gerard's not going to use him. We need someone who can just sit in the middle, put in a bit of tackle and spread the ball about. Ross said Lundstrom's very similar to what we've got. Buchanan's coming in very similar to Aribo. We've not got somebody slightly different. It can just sit in the middle of the park, put a foot in the ball, be a wee bit aggressive at times, but just spray it about without having to run. We've not got a lot of legs, middle of the park, and Celtic's got a lot of legs. That's my only fear. We're not quick. They're quite quick, especially up top. And maybe that's why coming to the Celtic game, it might go with Balogun again because he feels Balogun's got the pace. But Celtic are quite quick. I know people are saying they're bad at the back. They just signed a centre half who'll take time to settle. They signed that right back who's better than they got. Probably the worst player is probably boy Taylor saying for Kamara. But we have to be careful. I'm not just going to say no, they're not good enough or they're not going to win the league. We just have to watch what we're doing. We have to look after ourselves first and foremost, which you always do. But we need to keep a close eye on because I think a lot of people just thought we won the league last season at Atlanta, this season will be the same. And it's not, because retaining the title is always harder, especially when you won it for a while. But we need to improve it. So I hope we go through the group stages. We can maybe bring in another one because I still feel we're short.
Aye, quite possibly. Right, we'll leave it there, gents. Thank you very, very much. Thank you to everybody in the comments. If you are watching on YouTube, please do subscribe. Please do like. Please do let us know, let everybody know, all your bear friends out there, about the Rangers Rabble podcast. Of course, this is normally on Patreon on a Sunday night. So if you're not signed up to Patreon, please do click the link in the description if you want to help support us. £2 a month. You get loads and loads of content. So Ross, my friend, thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, as always.
Yeah, Kermit double shift, so that's
not bad.
that's what, 45 pence a wee.
Aye. Have you got your parent comb, Ross?
You can't get a word in edgeways for the guy, man. Nobody else can get on a pod because Kerr's just hogging it. No.
He's hogging everything, isn't he?
You're too busy getting a pair. Was it one of these things put out your head? Was it the paper or was it, what was it you were getting done?
It was the rollers, mate.
It was the rollers.
I'll send you a picture.
What's that skin you?
Right, and on that, thank you everybody for watching. We'll speak to you very, very soon. Good night.